Welcome to the Route to Success. Today is a unique situation. I am undergoing RV repairs and I am sitting in our closet with my dog who's having a panic attack. But I like to show the real life of business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs. And I think that for me, this is very real. And I think this will relate to a lot of people. So I apologize for the background. And if you see a little head bopping. Today's guest is Christine Barney. She's an accidental entrepreneur who built an award-winning agency by leading with trust, work-life blend, and a culture that keeps both clients and teammates for the long haul. Her journey shows how hopeful mindsets and practical systems compound over time. Hello, Christine. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
All right. You know what? Before we jump in, if you don't mind, would you just give a 2-minute elevator pitch of what you do so that we can set the tone for this? Because I know what you do is very fascinating. And I want to make sure our audience has that full concept.
Sure. I'm CEO of RBB Communications, which calls itself the champion of breakout brands. We are a 6-time U.S. PR agency of the year, and we specialize in 5 distinct categories. We are a top 50 firm, but amongst that, we're the 4th largest firm that does energy and renewables. We are the 10th largest for professional services and the 4th largest for travel and leisure. And then we also do some work in healthcare and consumer marketing. And we're based in Miami, but we work throughout the U.S., mostly in the Americas, from Canada down to Argentina.
Thank you. That was perfect. All right. What is the earliest moment you remember choosing growth over comfort, and how did that choice shape you today?
Sure. It's kind of funny you ask that on this day because this is November 1st was actually our 24th anniversary of deciding not to renew my contract with a major global agency and instead start my own. So I had been part of an agency we sold when I was a minority partner, and I signed a contract for 5 years. And at the end of those 5 years, the agency had grown in a direction that didn't really fit with me. And as I said, I had been an equity owner in the previous agency, but I'd never started it. I just joined an already going concern and became a partner. And I decided that renewing did not make sense and that, in fact, I should take the leap and start my own agency. And 24 years later, we're doing great.
And it is, I will say, a fellow entrepreneur who I fell into it as well. That leap is terrifying, but
Yes.
I think rewards are worth it. So here's what I found so interesting when we first met and we're talking. You call yourself an accidental entrepreneur. And I think I'm maybe one as well. But I'm curious, what mindset shifts turned accident into intention, and how can listeners replicate that?
Well, I say accidental because I did not grow up knowing any entrepreneurs or that entrepreneurship was even an option. My parents were both blue-collar workers. I'm the first in my father's family to go to college. And we just didn't, when you don't see those role models, they just don't seem like an option. And after I did go to college, I got a job at a big company and I was an employee. And I expected to be an employee my whole life. And it was a move that made me, because of a spouse, I had to move to Florida, and I joined a small firm. And the owner of that firm really was the first one to say to me, hey, you should become an investor in this firm, and you should really think about becoming an entrepreneur. And he pushed me to think about it. And I bought my first 10% of the firm, and I started to really appreciate the benefits of entrepreneurship. So I bought another 10% and another 10% before that firm was sold. And, as I said, that firm, then I stayed for 5 years and then bought it back. And I never really looked back on being an entrepreneur. So, that accident started with someone else's idea. So my first advice is be open to new ideas. Push beyond your comfort zone. Like I said, I had no role models. It had never been done before. I had to come out with money out of pocket at a time when I had very little. I was still paying off my college student loans, but I could see the benefit in the long term because I saw the benefits that the current entrepreneur was reaping, and it just required that leap of faith.
I love how you said be open to new ideas. I think that is one of the most powerful things that you can do in life is be open to new ideas. I go on walks and will just open my mind, and it's amazing what happens. One thing go ahead.
One of my clients once said, you have to have a really big windshield and a tiny little rearview mirror. The more you can see and the more you can feed into your mind, the better off you're going to be in your personal and your business life.
Correct, correct. And it's all about that open-mindedness and growth mindset and change and being willing to walk into change. I think that's amazing.
Mhm.
One thing you said that has really stuck with me, I think you said a lot of things that really stuck with me, but right now, you said you start from trust. And I think that's so important. And I teach that you have to give trust before you can receive trust. Can you describe one time that that default change in outcome and a simple way any leader can practice that this week? How can we give trust first, especially with the state of the world, I think?
A lot of companies use trust as one of their values, but it's kind of corporate speak. It doesn't have meaning unless you really bring it to life. And I think any leader needs to think about the fact that no staff or no client should have to earn your trust. They can only lose your trust. If you come at it with the mindset that says, I will trust at the start when it comes to working with others, then you're going to end up with better outcomes. And while I'm trying to think of what a specific outcome would be that, as you said, changed a whole attitude. But I would tell you that when people don't feel like you're constantly checking up on them, they thrive, they blossom, they thrive. And also, on those few instances where someone makes a mistake, if they trust you, they're going to come to you with an openness. You're going to learn about the mistakes sooner. You're going to learn about the lessons learned. They're not going to feel like there's going to be recrimination. And those mistakes are usually not repeated because there is that trust. So to me, the simple thing a leader can do is make sure they always give trust from the start, and you can only lose it. You don't have to earn it.
I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly. So it's interesting. Had a conversation earlier with a client. We were talking about work-life blend, not balance.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep your weekly rhythm, or what boundary do you have that preserves your energy without hurting your results?
Sure. Well, obviously, work doesn't happen only between 9 and 5, and life is not only on nights and weekends, and especially in a communications agency where crises occur 24/7. But when we founded the agency in 2001, even way back then, before everyone knew about, remote work or any of the tools that we would have, I built the agency on the idea that you could work when you wanted, where you wanted, and how you wanted. So if your clients were in California, you didn't need to be here at 9 a.m. You needed to be here in the time zone that mattered. If you're not a morning person, why should I make you be a morning person when the quality of your work may not be good? As long as your results are good, your work is done, your clients are happy, and your billable hours are in, the metrics that we decided mattered, everyone could choose the best way that they work, period. And knowing that everyone can make that choice to go to a kid's play or a mother's doctor's appointment without feeling like you're being judged is very empowering. Because there are a lot of places that say, oh, we offer flexibility, but then you use it and there are repercussions. So I think that the boundaries need to be, I don't need to know where you're going. Your dog is as important to you, then I don't need to judge, well, they're taking time off just for a dog as opposed to a child or a sibling. No judgment. Just let people do whatever they need to do their best work.
I could not agree with you more. I always tell my team it's about results. It's not about the hours that you work in the office. I mean, sometimes we have to have accountability, such as tracking hours for clients, but that's so different. Like you said, billable hours, then you must be here Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Right. And coworkers know. They know when someone's not delivering. If because we have this team, when somebody doesn't meet their deliverables, their quality of work isn't good, nobody wants them on their team. And that happens a lot faster than me trying to manage a person out of a position.
I like that. I like how you're letting the peers manage each other. I think that's a very healthy way to do that. It also allows you to lead, not manage, which is so important as a leader. Your team and clients stay for years. What habit or ritual keeps hope alive during hard quarters when metrics dip?
Well, we have a 9-year client average tenure, and funny, we have a 9-year average staff tenure. And I always say those two numbers aren't the same by coincidence. The clients stay where the people stay. And when times are tough, the way to keep both numbers high is through habits and rituals, or rather, as most people call it, culture. So a culture of trust, flexibility, respect. And remember, we're all in this together. So sometimes it's as simple as using, quote, we language as opposed to you language. And to be clear, even with clients, when the metrics dip, like let's say your results are not as good as they were the last quarter, if you have trust and transparency, then one, it's not a surprise to the client. And it's not the only thing that matters, because they're not just judging you based on one result. They're judging you on the body of work. So I think the habits of rituals are, again, back to trust, flexibility, and respect, work on both sides, the client side and on the team side.
Agreed. Agreed. When you hit a wall, maybe a creative wall or a challenge with understanding what a client is looking for, what is your personal reset protocol? What's the first hour, first call, first action that gets
Sure.
your momentum back?
Well, one of the things I love about my business is the variety. You know, I have so many clients, so many different sectors. Every day is filled with a variety of tasks. And sometimes I'm just not in the mood for certain things. So part of my answer to my reset protocol is to do the things I'm best suited to do in that moment. You know, it's don't be afraid to say, I can't write this 1,200 word byline right now. Instead, I'm going to work on checking my math projections for 2026, because that's all my brain can handle right now. And so pick the things that you're going to be successful at. You know, I do think, though, to some extent, I always try and do the hardest thing first in the day, because otherwise I dread it all day long and it drags everything down. And I'm a big believer in escapism. You know, clear your brain by just say, I can't work right now. I'm going to take a 5-minute walk. I'm going to
Yeah.
listen to a comedy show. I'm going to, you know, I'm a big Christmas fanatic. And so if I'm working from home, I'll get up and do some decorating for 10 minutes, you know, whatever it is that's going to help you reset. I think moving your physical body is also helpful in clearing your mind.
There is so much science behind that, how physical movement is imperative to clearing your mind and opening that perspective. I'll tell you, this is funny. One of the things, because I'm very much about rituals and habits. So one of the things I do when I get stuck is I definitely go outside, but I'll do my normal walk backwards. Because it's just like such a change in perspective. I have to pay more attention to the route. And so it opens my mind to think differently and see things differently. You know, it's just that physical reminder. Okay. So for someone starting over, what is the smallest daily practice that most reliably compounds into confidence and opportunity?
Okay. Well, the first point is that there aren't enough hours in a day to do everything that needs to be done. You know, I could work 24/7 and there'd still be more to do. So the best way to build confidence and not let yourself get crazy is to remember this phrase. I say it to everybody here all the time. Excellence, not perfection. You can't do everything. And you are going to have to learn to be able to delegate and say, these are things that I am just not, if they have to happen, but do they really need me? And another point that I feel very strongly about is having disciplined administrative skills. I don't let my email box get overloaded. I keep action plans so I know what's getting done. I don't like clutter. I'm always early, never late. That reduces a lot of stress that comes from, you know, last minute Charlies. And I think when you have a good discipline in your daily practice, that builds confidence, because when you start the day, you're like, yes, I'm going to be able to do the things that I've set on my plate for today. And you still leave a little room for opportunity.
Exactly. And I will say, on really bad days, and this will make you laugh, I have been known to write laundry on my to-do list just so I could check that off. Because sometimes getting that momentum of seeing things checked off really gets you going forward. Christine, what is a piece of wisdom that I haven't asked you about that you would love to leave our readers with? Listen to me, our listeners with. Can you tell? I'm so sorry. You're getting me on a day where I am not at my best. I apologize.
Well, again, I would go back to, you know, the idea that you have to have a big windshield and a tiny rearview mirror. I find too many people spend their lives thinking about woulda, coulda, shoulda, you know, and the what ifs and the mistakes that they made. Make that rearview mirror really small, because yes, you can learn from the past, but there's still so much more opportunity in front of you. And you have to look at uncover every stone to think about, where is opportunity here that could change my life, that could make a difference. I never expected to live in Florida. That was an accident, a choice that I made, you know, from an opportunity that was very small, but it changed everything. I wouldn't be an entrepreneur if I hadn't moved here. So I think that have a big windshield and a tiny rear view mirror is something that we can all benefit from.
Agreed. Christine, I want to thank you for your time today. And above all, I want to thank you for your patience with the creativity that I had to take to solve my family problem. But I think that shows the true flexibility that both of us have talked about. And I just want to thank you for your time. And if there's anything I cannot speak today. If there's anything else that I could help you with, if there's ever anything I could do, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Well, thank you very much. And I feel the same way. I mean, I had an entrepreneur help me pay it forward by becoming an entrepreneur. And I meet with anybody who's interested in, learning the trials and tribulations of starting a business. I always try and be available for students, for other entrepreneurs, because it's a difficult journey, especially if you've had no role models, but it's fabulous if you can do it.
I agree. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. I hope your roof gets fixed and your baby does okay.
Thank you. She's going to make it. We're going to make it. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.